We're here once again. The Fight City Last Call presents. It's the boxing in Brooklyn. Well, join me here, a man who went 12 rounds with a broken jaw and still is one of England's darlings. I give you Scott Quigg. Scott, let's start off here with, you have a lot of options here. You are right now a cat in the catbird seat here. You got Gary Russell Jr. here tonight. You got Carl Frampton, who you want.
Yep.
We know Jesus Cuellar has said he wants a big fight.
Lee Selby's out there.
What is it like to be basically, even though you're coming off a loss, to have all these options, just be able to pick and choose who you want?
Yeah, you see, obviously it's good that the fight didn't do my, the loss to Frampton didn't do my profile any harm. I went 8 rounds with a broken jaw. I lost on a split decision, so I didn't get beat up. And it's good that I'm still out there. My name's I'm still a big name, and it's good to have these options. I'm back in the gym now training hard because I know these are the fights that I want to be involved in. These big fights, these big nights.
The Frampton fight, I know there was a lot of bad blood between all parties. Hearn, McGuigan, Irish, British, I know, but you wanted this fight. We talked in 2012 and you said, I want a big fight. How much do you think that affected you going into the fight of just all this tension, all this rage, all this anger of wanting this big fight, and then it's here and you didn't have that sort of release. It basically was kept in like a bottle.
It was a big fight. It was a massive fight, especially back home. I'd been building for a lot of years. Both were beaten. A lot of them, you had the English and Irish, and it made for a great atmosphere on the night. But it didn't affect us. If anything, I thrived on it. It was good to be involved in that massive occasion, and obviously I'll learn from that. Take experience from that for the future. It was good to happen, and it's given me a taste. I want to keep. I want more of them nights.
How do you go through rounds with a broken jaw? Because he's still hitting you.
Yeah.
You're trying to drink water, it hurts. I mean, how do you ignore the pain to go through those rounds when an average man would just say, screw it, I'm out. I can't breathe, I can't drink. You could have tapped out that broken jaw.
Yeah, I mean, when it first went, it was weird, it weren't painful or it weren't that painful, but my jaw was just, every time I moved it was swaying. It had its own mind, so I couldn't really open my mouth that much, and it was, when it first went, I didn't know how painful it was going to be when I got hit on it, so that's why I went even more defensively, and then once I got hit in the 6th round, I got hit with an uppercut, which people think broke the jaw, but it weren't. He caught me with a right hook in the 4th round. But when he hit me with that uppercut in the 6th, that completely snapped and it just went completely numb. So from that point on, I come back after the corner and Joe said the Sky had you 6-1 down. And I went, what? So then he gave me basically shoved a rock at my ass and said I need to start applying the pressure. And once I started putting the pressure on, the fight was, I took control of the fight. And tactically, we got it wrong early on. If we would have used this, if we would have gone out the side of the block straight away, then I would have won the fight.
Why did you start off so short?
It was
the jaw that set you off?
No,
being emergent, or
for the first 3 rounds, first 3 or 4 rounds we were supposed to be, tactical watching it because we know Frampton's sharp early on, so we know he likes to counter and he looked to that right hand over the top. So we were trying to draw the leads, and I wasn't busy through no fault of anybody else except for mine. I didn't use my left jab enough. So we was going and it was supposed to be defensively trying to counter the counter, but it didn't work. So obviously I lost the judges. He was looking busier. He wasn't doing much either, but he was looking busier. So you can understand why the judges, through the judges giving me early rounds. But it was a slight mistake. In hindsight, we should have just set out the blocks and just put it on him, because if I would have done that, the fight would have been mine, comfortably.
in terms of where you're at now, you said November, December possible.
Yeah.
You're looking to stay at 122, maybe jump up to 126. Really, the names are at 160.
I'm going to say I want to go where the big fights are, to be honest with you. And all the names are at 126. Another thing is I've been at Super Mountain now for 15 years, so I can make the weight, and I make it comfortable because I'm dedicated and I'm very, very disciplined.
is that fight with Guillermo Wigan down on the table for you?
Yeah.
He went over there, fought Jackson.
Yeah, that's definitely on the table. I know I think he's been mandated to fight Moises Flores.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know whether Flores is going to take the fight, but that's out there. There's the Hugo Ruiz. That's another fight I'm being interested in. And the recently IBF world champion now, Jonathan Guzman. So there's definitely a world title fight I can go straight back into down at junior featherweight if I stay at that weight. Otherwise, we'll look at a big fight at featherweight.
But if that fight does come on the table, would you take the fight?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Because everyone's saying that he's saying that you and Frampton Santa Cruz all doctors.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people will probably agree with it. The same way we ducked him, but it was, when you're coming through and me and Frampton were both unbeaten, and Rigongo is a class fighter. He's pound for pound best in the division for a reason. So if one of us would have got beat before me and Frampton fought each other, it would have took the shine off it. But it's like now, but I'd definitely take that fight in a heartbeat. I'm not going to go in there and outpoint him. I'm not going to try and kill myself. I'll go in there and I'll find that shot to not put him out with all we can be there. So yeah, I would definitely take that fight.
Now, there's a lot UK champions. Yeah, guys are running boxing.
Yeah.
But in terms of a Kel Book, when they're instead of fighting each other, they're moving up in weight to fight middleweight. What's your opinion on it? In regards to them not fighting each other, but then yet taking challenges that most people don't think they should do it.
I mean, I agree. There's nothing better than there's a lot of fights in Britain that could happen and they could fight each other and it's the fights the fans want to see. But instead, as you said, they'll move up in weight, 2 weights and fight someone else. Nobody's giving them a chance to win it because I think the mentality is, well, if I get beat, no one expected me to win, so I'm in a win-win situation. I'm getting good money for it, so I think that's the mentality. But in a way, it spoils the sport a bit. Ruins the sport. These plenty of good fights out there, very good fights that the fighters fought each other. I think one of the things is you get a loss and your money's half. You're not on the same money, and I think that's the problem in boxing. That's why everyone wants to protect that all.
Frampton came over here to fight Leo Santa Cruz. Probably the best guy in the division right now.
I'd say Gary Russell was the best 126.
Okay, you said Gary Russell?
I'd say Gary Russell.
So let's say if a fight with Gary Russell appeared at your desk, would you come to the U.S. to fight Gary Russell?
Yeah, definitely.
To fight you?
Yeah, I've always wanted to fight in the US, whether it was against Gary Russell, Santa Cruz, anybody. One day I'd love to come over here and fight over it.
Scott, you were a champion for 3 years or over 3 years?
Yeah, just over 3 years.
Culminating in a huge fight in the O2.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
Going to come back in November.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be a title shot right
No,
away.
no, I want to come. If we can get the title shot, that's what we want to come straight back in the big fight.
Straight away?
Yeah, I'm not worried about the jaw. I've been given the whole plate now. It's, go back in there. I want to go straight back in where I believe I belong.
Is there something you think you and your team and Eddie will be able to facilitate? And would that also be a fight that we can expect on Sky or Sky pay-per-view?
Yeah, it'd be definitely be on Sky. I'm not sure if it's Sky pay-per-view depending on what show it's on.
Sure.
But yeah, we're working at the minute speaking with Eddie. Talks that we've had with a couple of the champions, which we know everyone can push the button. Just waiting up to see which is the best option.
Sure. Now, have you been keeping fit? Have you been putting in work at the gym, or have you been taking a little bit of time off to heal?
After the fight, I have 2 months off, and then from like the beginning of May, I started picking up the training once a day, just getting back in the gym, living normal, because all I've ever done all my life really was train. So me not training was, I was starting to get fed up, just sitting around doing nothing. But I needed to do that to let the jaw heal. But as soon as I could get back in the gym, I've been back in the gym now, and the last 4 weeks I've been training 2-3 times a day, getting my weight down and enjoying living life again.
Now, nobody likes to take a loss, but let's remember, you were a betting underdog for that fight against Frampton. The fight was relatively close.
Yeah, I mean, I know me and my team, we got the tactics slightly wrong early on, and it ended up costing me the fight. We would have set off out the blocks like I finished, I would have won that fight comfortably, and that's why I give Santa Cruz the edge tonight. I think if he sets off out the blocks like I should have done, I think it would.
But you will have the opportunity in the future to make wrongs right, right?
Oh yeah, there's definitely my aim now. People are saying, you need to forget about that now, move on, go and do something else. And I remember all the old fighters, the old time fighters, that when they get lost, they want to come back and they want to rematch, they want to revenge that loss. Whether it was, I know fighters, I've watched all the old time fighters that they've had a loss and they've got beat convincingly, but then the next time they come back and they beat them. That's the way I've been brought up.
Ben and Eubank used to go at each other, right?
Exactly, and if someone beats you, you want to avenge them. And that's all I've been told. Since a kid, I've always been brought up that there's no time for runners up, no time to become second. Become second, you go and you make sure you go, you redeem yourself and go and put the wrong right, and that's what I want to do. I want to avenge my loss.
Excellent. Now, final question. If you were a betting man, who would you take in a rematch between Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko?
I think Klitschko will beat Tyson to win, but I think Tyson's that unpredictable, Well, if the Tyson turns up that turned up last time, I think Tyson would edge it again. But I think Klitschko will. I have just a sneaky. I want Tyson to win, but I have a sneaky feeling if that when the rematch happens, if it happens, Klitschko will nick it.
Do you think it's possibly because Tyson spends a little bit too much time in the pub or too much leisure time?
What I like about Tyson's your real normal guy, and whether you agree with that or disagree with it, he lives his life how he wants to live it. I respect him as a fighter because I tell you, I used to train with him years ago, and for a big guy, for an heavyweight, he trains like a demon. So he might put all this weight on, he might out of camp and live the wrong life outside the camp, but when he's in camp, I'll give him his due. He really does put the work in.
And did you catch the result with Campbell this afternoon?
Yeah, he won on points there, but he was down in the second. And that's a very, very good win, beating that Mendes. Good win. And a tough fight to come back with, after his loss, he'd only fought Gary Sykes, and that was a big step up in class from Gary Sykes to Mendes. So it's a very good win.
And you think Luca's has righted his wrongs and is back on the right path, perhaps in cash out 2017?
Yeah, I think Luke Cameron now is, back on the right track, and I'd like him to avenge that loss against that Mendy, but I'm not sure. I seen an article where that Mendy was saying he don't want the rematch. So unless he's paid well, but I'd like to see Campbell back in with Mendy because I do think if he has another fight and then gets in with Mendy, I think he'll definitely put that loss behind him and beat him the next time.
Scott, you were part of this whole British invasion where we saw all of a sudden England take over, whether it was Calzaghe, then Groves, yourself, now you have guys like Joshua, Brook. What is that like when UK is now the boxing, don't want to be USA, it's the UK is where the big fights are, the big money fights are, and this passionate fan base which goes gaga with boxing.
What it is, I think it's the success breeds success, and with, Ricky Hatton was world champion, Carl Frampton was world champion. As I was coming through, then you start to believe, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So you've got all the youngsters coming through at the time who are now the world champions, and then now you've got another crop who have obviously all the Olympians. Once the Olympics is over, all the young amateurs coming through. They're starting to believe more, and that's what it's about, belief. And I think at the minute the UK, all the fighters, all the trainers, they believe we're as good as the US fighters, the US trainers, and that's what it is. We're starting to believe in ourselves now. And belief, as I said, there's 13 or 14 world champions from the UK. I think we've got the most world champions at the minute.
You were part of one of the biggest fights ever in the UK. One was Groves versus of course, Frost. The other one was Frampton. Big crowds, passionate fan bases. What is, even with soccer, even with rugby, why is it that boxing is still thriving in the UK?
I just think there's nothing like a good fight. You know, like it's just UK mentality. You know, you look at the football. You know, you have your hooligans. It's just how we are. You know, I mean, like a good fight, but we get behind whatever it is. It could be even tennis, it could be boxing, football. The Brits get right behind, and you late tonight, the atmosphere when Frampton comes on, you know, they make a great atmosphere, and that's just, we're just different fans from any other country.
Last question to me, but let everybody else take over. Barry Hearn gets a lot of hate, even though he's gotten you a lot of money, he's gotten you some big fights, done Joshua. He gets, as the Boxing Kingdom said, more hate than any promoter. Why is that? And what is it like dealing with the Hearns who love him or hate him? They seem to invest in British boxing.
Listen, they get a lot of hate, but it's jealousy. You know, what they're doing right, they're putting on the shows, they're putting on the big fights, they're getting fighters world title shots, you know, they're producing champions. What are they doing wrong? You know, the stable that they have, the fighters that they promote, they're getting them the chances, they're building them right. A lot of the stable of becoming world champions is Dr. Golovkin over now. You know, he's fighting Brook. He gets stick, but he's the one who's producing more than any other promoter in Europe and in the US at the moment. You know, so the stick. Listen, you're in the sport. Any sort of thing when you're doing well, you've got to expect people to try and bring you down.
What would you rather have, Gary Russell in Barclays Center, or Lee Selby in, dare I say, Wembley? You know, you can go to the American in America, or do you want to take the British guy where you know that if you take on Lee Selby, it's big money, it's a big draw, and it'll be Brit versus Brit. Paper's all about the media will be focused on you 24/7.
What you've got to think, you can't beat a real domestic fight, especially in Britain. You know, when a Brit fights in Britain, it's for a world title. You know, a big fight that people want to see. It doesn't matter whether you're fighting. If I fought Gary Russell over here, it'd be nowhere near as big. You know, back home, if you fought another Brit, whether it's Lee Selby or Carl Frampton again, the public get hold of it, and that's what it's about. You want to be in them where people want to see it, people are going to get behind it, you're going to get a packed out arena, and then the fights want to be involved in.
Once again, we got, of course, it is Scott Quigg. He's back in action, and a lot of people on his hit list. Before we let you go, where the fans check you out? Where's the Twitter page, the website, Instagram?
Scott Quigg on all of them. Scott Quigg on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Scott Quigg. But, you know, I'm not the most, I don't post that much, so I'm not the most interesting guy.
Well, a lot of Brits will disagree, but once again, I give you Scott Quigg, and once again, from the Fight City and last call that we give you is boxing in Barclays. Check out more of the action.
Thank you.